Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your English Literature live class. We have been doing the story The Last Leaf, which has been written by O. Henry. We have done a small portion of the story where Sue goes to call Berman to be her model for the illustration which she has to make for the story magazine, for the magazine story. So now come to page number 116 and let us continue. Old Berman was a painter who lived on the ground floor beneath them. He was past 60 and a failure in art. 40 years he had wielded the brush without getting anything. He had been always about to paint a masterpiece but had never yet begun it. He earned a little by serving as a model to the young artists in the colony who could not pay the price of a professional. For the rest, he was a fierce little old man who scoffed terribly at softness in anyone, and who regarded himself as especially a mastiff in waiting to protect the two young artists in the studio above. So now this new character gets introduced in the story when Sue goes to call Berman. Now we get the introduction of Berman, who Berman was. He was an old painter in the in the mid of his 60s. It is written past 60, so somewhere between 60 to 70. His age lied between 60 to 70, right? So where did he live? He lived in on the ground floor beneath the apartment of John Z and Sue. And he was a failure in art, though he was an artist, but he couldn't paint his masterpiece. He couldn't compose his masterpiece. And he is in such a ripe age, still he has not come up with his masterpiece so far. He has not even started, let alone finished. He has not even started composing his masterpiece, right? And how did he earn his living? He used to be the model for these young artists, and these young artists, they were also not rich enough to hire a professional model, okay, because they used to take a lot of money. Their fees used to be high. Therefore they had approached this old Burman, whom they paid a very minimal amount, and that would also suffice for the old Burman. Okay, so this was his source of income. He used to be the model for these young artists. Now, uh, for only these two people, only John Z and Sue, he was a very friendly person. But for the rest of the other people, he was a very violent and a fierce man. He was very unapproachable, and he used to mock everybody's soft and kind nature. And why was he so close to John Z and Sue? Because he was very protective towards them. He had a very fatherly affection for the girls, right? He was like a mastiff in waiting. Mastiff is a breed of dog, very strong, and a very big dog, right? Mastiff is a kind of breed of dog. So he has been compared as, as loyal as that breed of dog. And he used to keep a watch on them. He used to protect them all the time. And he considered those two girls as his daughters. Now, moving ahead, let us see what happens. Sue found Berman is in his dimly lighted den. She told him of Johnsy's fancy and how she feared she would, indeed, light and fragile as a leaf herself, float away when her slight hold upon the world grew weaker. So now, when Sue goes to call Berman, she tells everything about John Z to Berman. She tells Berman about John Z everything, and she tells how she has fallen sick, and how she and about her foolish fancies, that how she has compared her life with the falling of leaves, and how she thinks that she's going to die when the last leaf of the ivy vine would fall. Old Berman shouted his contempt and derision for such idiotic imagining. So when he learns about all these things, he shouted in disgust, and he was ridiculed. Also, he mocked that foolishness, John Z's foolishness, and such idiotic imagination. right? One important thing is that in the next paragraph you'll see that it is written in some, the words are not like properly spelled. Why? Because it is there in order to show the Yiddish accent of Burman. So Burman is a Jew, right, from Europe, and he has this Yiddish accent. The European Jews have had this Yiddish accent. So in order to show that the reader, it has been written like this, right? So, what does he say? Let us see. Was, he cried. Is there people in the world made their foolishness to die because leaves they drop off from a confounded vine? I have not heard of such a thing. Why do you allow that silly business to come in the brain of her? So, that poor little Miss Yonsi. So he gets very disgusted when he learns about Johnsie's foolish imagination, and then he in his Yiddish accent says that this is not a way to think, to associate one's life with the falling of the leaves. Okay. and he also says that Sue could have stopped her from such from having such imaginations. She would have been there with her. She would have stopped her from thinking all these things. And this is not a way to overthink. I mean, he found it very very childish and very foolish of Johnsy to think in this manner. She is very ill and weak, said Sue, and the fever has left her mind morbid and full of strange fancies. So now Sue justifies her imaginations, and she says that since Johnsy is very weak and she is ill, and she's feeling very unhealthy, and she's not in a state of mind to think what is right and what is wrong. So that is why such illusions are coming to her mind. Very well, Mr. Berman. If you don't, if you do not care to pose for me, you need not. But I think you are a horrid old flibberty gibbet. So she says, now when he gets disgusted, when old Burman gets disgusted on hearing all these things, so he in a flow he says that he would not pose for Sue. So when she hears that, when she comes to know that old Burman is denying to be her model, so she also gets angry. She says that if you don't want to pose for me, then it's good for you. If you don't want, then don't do it. But you are a very rude and unkind man, right? So then what happens? You are just like a woman, yelled Berman. Who said I will not both? Go on, I come with you. So he says now when he sees that Donzi Sue is getting angry, he immediately traces his ways back, and he says that I didn't say that I won't pose for you. Why are you saying like that? Why are you being a woman? Now you go, and I'm just coming after you. For half an hour, I have been trying to say that I am ready to boast. God, this is not any place in which one so good as Miss Yonsi shall lie sick. Some day I will paint a masterpiece, and we shall all go away. God, yes. Here, God means God, God, God. Okay. So he's saying that I never said that I won't pose for you. Since half an hour, I've been trying to tell you that I'll pose for you, I'll pose for you, and still you are saying that I am saying you, I'm not going to pose for you. And then he says that this is not a place where such a good and kind-hearted John Z would fall sick. How will she manage? One day I'll paint a masterpiece, and I'll take her away with me. Okay, because he also gets angry because Sue calls him a cruel person, an unkind person. Johnsy was sleeping when they went upstairs. Sue pulled the shade down to the windowsill, and motioned Berman into the other room. So now, when they go up, what did they find? That Johnsy was fast asleep. So they go into the other room. In there, they peered out the window fearfully at the ivy vine. Then they looked at each other for a moment without speaking. So now, when they saw that Johnsy was sleeping, she pulled down the curtains, and then she moved, and then they moved to the other room. And in the other room, what did they see? They just looked out of the window, and they looked at that ivy vine and the leaf which was there. They looked at each other. They were quite fearful, and they didn't say anything, but they were uh, pretty much scared. A persistent cold rain was falling, mingled with snow. Berman, in his old blue shirt, took his seat as the hermit miner on an upturned kettle for a rock. So the weather outside has been described over here that the rain, it was raining continuously along with the snow, because it's New York and the temperature, and there, snowfall is very normal. So along with the rain, the snow was also falling, and so it was really cold weather, bleak winter night, right? And Berman was in his blue shirt, old blue shirt, and where did he sit? He sat on an upturned kettle, which they used in place of a rock. Okay, so the old hermit miner would have been sitting on a rock, but they did not have the rock in the room, so they converted that kettle into a rock. So they upturned the kettle, and he sat on the kettle in place of a rock. When Sue awoke from an hour's sleep the next morning, she found Johnsy with dull, wide open eyes staring at the drawn green shade. So the green shade is the same curtains which were there hanging on the window, outside which Johnsy was looking. So after completing her work, Sue goes off to sleep, and when she wakes up, she finds that Johnsy was already awake, and she was with her dull eyes looking at the curtains, because the curtains were drawn. Okay, and she was weak enough to get up and open the curtains, but therefore she was staring at the green curtains only. Pull it up. I want to see, she ordered in a whisper. Wearily, Sue obeyed. So when Johnsy saw that Sue was up, Sue got up. So she asked Sue to open the curtain, pull the curtains up, and Sue also obeyed. She opened it. Wearily means in a tired way. She was very tired because she had been working all night, and she also had been looking after her friend. So she was naturally very tired. But lo, after the beating rain and fierce gusts of wind that had endured through the long night, yet there stood out against the brick wall one ivy leaf. Now, when she pulled up the curtain, what did they observe? They observed that one leaf was still there on the ivy vine. Okay, although it had rained so heavily, the weather was so bad, the winds were blowing so fiercely, it still, the leaf managed to remain there. The leaf managed to intact with itself to the ivy vine, to the stem. It was the last one on the vine, still dark green near its stem, with its serrated edges tinted with the yellow of dissolution and decay. It hung bravely from the branch some 20 feet above the ground. So it was the last leaf on that ivy vine, which managed to remain intact to the stem, and it was still dark green in color, with some yellowish tint in order to show the decay or the some sort of decomposition, because leaves turn yellow in the autumn season, and after that they fall. So it was not all green, but yet it was dark green with some tint of yellowness on it, and it hung bravely on that branch, and that branch was somewhere 20 feet above the ground. It is the last one, said Johnsy. I thought it would surely fall during the night. I heard the wind. It will fall today, and I shall die at the same time. So still, see, Johnsy, still she has not got the hope of living, of getting better. She's still thinking that the last leaf is there, although it has managed to remain there in the ivy vine. But she thinks that now the leaf is going to fall, and she is also going to die that very moment. "Poor dear," said Sue, leaning her worn face down to the pillow. "Think of me, if you won't think of yourself. What would I do?" But Johnsy did not answer. Now, Sue asked Johnsy that please have some pity on her, and if she can't think of herself, then she should at least think of her friend Sue. That what would Sue do after Johnsy, without Johnsy? But Johnsy did not answer anything. She was just engulfed in her own imagination, in her own fancies, that she is going to die, and she is surely going to die. The day wore away, and even through the twilight they could see the lone ivy leaf clinging to its stem against the wall. With the coming of the night, the north wind was again loose, while the rain beat against the window. Now, what happens? The day has passed. All the day has also passed. The leaf remained intact to the stem all the night, and the next day, Johnsy thought that it would fall that day, but the day has also passed. The leaf is still there. The leaf was still there, and now the time of twilight has come. Twilight, you people know, it is the period just before it becomes completely dark in the evening. Okay, when the after the sun sets and before it gets dark, the time duration between them is known as the time duration between that period is known as twilight. Okay, so the leaf was still there clinging to its stem against the wall. And now again the night has arrived, and in the night the weather generally gets worse. So the wind again starts to blow, and the rain and it has started to rain again. When it was light enough, Johnsy the merciless commanded that the shade be raised. So when it just started to rain and it was not very heavy, the rain was still it was raining lightly. That time only, Johnsy again asked Sue to pull the curtains up. The ivy leaf was still there. So what did she see? That the ivy leaf was still there. It did not fall. Johnsy lay for a long time looking at it. So she was just waiting, okay, that the leaf should fall now. But the leaf did not fall. Then she called to Sue, who was stirring her chicken broth over the gas stove. Underline broth, write down soup. Broth is another word for soup. So what happened that when she sees that the leaf is still there, it is not falling. So she calls Sue. What was Sue doing? Sue was stirring her chicken broth. She was preparing a chicken soup for her friend Johnsy. "I have been a bad girl," Sue said Johnsy. "Something has made that last leaf stay there to show me how wicked I was. It is a sin to want to die. You may bring me a little broth now, and no, bring me a hand mirror first, and I will sit up and watch you cook." An hour later, she said, "To someday I hope to paint the Bay of Naples." So now, what do we see? That her willingness to live has come back, because she is saying that she now hopes that someday she will paint the Bay of Naples, right? And she also realizes that it has been very bad of her, that she was all the time willing she was willing to die all the time, and she was very wicked, and it is there something the nature is trying to tell her by keeping that leaf there on the stem, that she should think of other people also. She was being selfish when she wanted to die. So now all the condition has normalized, and she has restored normalcy, and now she is asking for the soup, and also thinking about her dream. Okay, she always wanted to paint the Bay of Naples, so she is sharing that same thing with her friend Sue. The doctor came in the afternoon, and Sue had an excuse to go into the hallway as he left. Even chances. Now, doctor says that there are equal chances for her to get better, or her condition to get worse, said the doctor, taking Sue's thin hand, shaking in his. "With good nursing, you'll win." So he again says that now, earlier it was 1 to 10, now it is 50-50. Okay, she could get better also, and she could get worse also. But he also tells her that with good nursing, she will be able to. He will be able to save her. "Now I must see another case downstairs. His name is Berman, some kind of an artist, I believe. Pneumonia too." He is an old, weak man, and the attack is acute. There is no hope for him, but he goes to the hospital today to be made more comfortable. So now what happens is that um, after visiting John Z, he tells Sue that he has to go and visit another patient, and that is none other but Burman. Okay, so he tells her that there is an old man, old painter, old artist named as Burman, who is also suffering from pneumonia, but he's old, weak. Okay, the immunity of old people is not as good as as young people. So and his attack was also severe, right? So he was badly suffering from pneumonia. So he says that for there's no hope for his survival. Still they are taking him to the hospital to make him more comfortable. The next day, the doctor said to Sue, she's out of danger. You won. Nutrition and care now, that's all. So the next day, the day before, he told that there are even chances, and the next day, he tells Sue that Johnsy is out of danger now, and all she needs is nutrition and care, and she'll be good to go. She'll be perfectly fine. That afternoon, Sue came to the bed where Johnsy lay and put one arm around her. I have something to tell you, he said. Mr. Berman died of pneumonia today in the hospital. He was ill only 2 days. The janitor found him in his room downstairs, helpless with pain. His shoes and clothing were wet through and icy cold. They couldn't imagine where he had been on such a dreadful night. So now Sue comes to Johnsy, and she comforts her, she hugs her. Okay, and then she tells her about Mr. Berman, who passed away. Mr. Berman passes away and he dies of pneumonia only, and he was ill only for 2 days. He was found in his room, helpless in pain, and all drenched in water, in rain. Okay, all his clothes were wet and icy cold, because we'll know why and how he contracted pneumonia. And they couldn't the janitor found this out. Okay? Janitor is a person, is a sweeper or cleaner, you can say. That is another word for sweeper or cleaner, right? So he found out about Mr. Berman, and they couldn't imagine, they were not able to make out how had that all happened. Then they found a lantern still lighted, and a ladder that had been dragged from its place, and some scattered brushes, and a palette with green and yellow colors mixed on it. And look out of the window, dear, at the last ivy leaf on the wall. Then she said that while they were trying to figure out what had happened with Mr. Berman, the very moment they noticed a lantern which was lying there, and a ladder was there, and some brushes were scattered here and there. There was a palette, and on the palette there were green and yellow colors. Okay, and some mixture of green and yellow was also there. And then she drags Johnsey's attention towards the ivy leaf which was there on the wall. Didn't you wonder why it never fluttered or moved when the wind blew? Ah, darling, it's Berman's masterpiece. He painted it there the night that the last leaf fell. So how did Berman contract pneumonia? Because he was outside in the rain, in the cold weather, in the chilly night, painting that last leaf, so as to bring hope to Johnsy, so as to bring positivity in Johnsy's life. Okay, the last leaf fell that night, the night when Johnsy was sleeping, but he knew that if she would have seen the last leaf had fallen, she might have collapsed. Right. So, in order to save her life, in order to protect her life, what did he do? He was there outside in the night, in the cold weather. He was painting that last leaf on the wall, and Sue asks Johnsy to observe that it never fluttered. The leaf was not moving. Okay, the wind was blowing so hard, it still the leaf was not moving. The leaf was still, but And it was so because it was just a painting, it was not a real leaf. And that is when Sue calls it Berman's masterpiece. Why is it being called Berman's masterpiece? Not because it was as real as it was very real as the, I mean, it was not looking real. It was not because it was looking real, but it was so because it brought positivity in somebody's life. It was able to save Gandhi's life, right? So this was a thing, and that is how Burman made his masterpiece. And by sacrificing his own life, he protected Gandhi's life, and while he sacrificed his own. So this is the story. I hope you people have understood. Thank you so much.